So you have the option.
Secretary, I've got it. Let me do that for us. Yeah.
You start.
Mm.
Yes.
I, Al-Haji Mahmoud Quran, do solemnly, sincerely, and truly affirm that the evidence I shall give before this commission or before this committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Mr. Quran. Welcome to the National Assembly.
Thank you.
You're here today in response to a summons, isn't that so?
Yes.
And prior to that summons, there was a prior summons issued to you for the submission of documents, which you duly complied with.
Yes.
In addition to the submission of documents, which was accompanied by a statement, you made an additional statement in conjunction with the investigators of the committee. Isn't that right?
Sure. Thanks.
Honorable Chair, I would like to present the documents of the witness, Mr. Al-Haji Mahmoud Quran, to form part of the exhibits to be considered by the committee. And the documents range and are marked as follows. AMK1 being a statement addressed to the special committee by Mr. Al-Haji Mahmoud Quran, captioned Respond to Summons, dated 27th May 2025, and attached to that as a series of documents. And the said documents are marked from AMK1, which is the letter itself, to AMK9AP. In addition to that, AMK1 has a supplement to it, which is the statement of Mr. Al-Haji Mahmoud Quran that is captioned without prejudice, and it was signed on the 2nd day of July 2025. That would be marked as AMK1A. I would ask that the secretariat provide Mr. Quran with a list of the exhibits for him to confirm that these are indeed the documents that he submitted.
I've gone through them. Yes, this is what I submitted.
Brilliant. Honorable Chair, that is the AMK series of documents. We will be referring to them during the course of the testimony.
The
And,
the 9A cancel.
yes, go ahead.
I haven't seen it here. I did not submit it. AMK 9A.
AMK 9A, which says on the list, Modu Lamin Sise, Mahindra.
No, I'm having appointment letter.
Did you say 9A or 9K?
9A. It says appointment letter. I did not remember submitting that.
From the list I have, 9A is a receipt.
From what we have, AMK 9A is appointment letter of Mr. Kura.
I would ask the secretary
list.
to confirm. Kindly please confirm so that we tidy the records. It seems like a double entry of marking. Mr. Kurang, we acknowledge that that was indeed not part of the record. We will strike it out. Honorable Chair of the committee will, I am ready to proceed.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Kurang, thank you for being here once more.
Welcome.
The committee has summoned you before it today such that you could guide the committee on the role you played in the Commission of Inquiry, the Commission of Inquiry famously known as the Jammeh Commission. But firstly, I would like to confirm that you are indeed the first secretary appointed to the commission.
Yes, I am the first secretary to the Jammeh Commission.
And indeed you were appointed by legal notice number 15 of 2017.
Yes, I believe so.
Mr. Kurang, prior to the issuance of legal notice number 15 of 2017, were there any engagements between you and the appointing authority, the government?
Yes, I had a meeting with the AG, the Attorney General.
Can you expound on that meeting? What was the nature of it and what was discussed?
The nature of the meeting is for him to tell me that I've been identified as a possible candidate for the post of a secretary to the commission. And he told me, I mean, if I would accept it. But before that, of course, he explained to me the basis on which they think I'm a suitable candidate.
And what was that basis, if you may enlighten us?
According to him, they're looking for a candidate with that fits a certain profile, and he listed a number of things. Number one, a candidate maybe that has not worked directly with the ex-president, and I have not held any post under the APRC regime. One. Two, a candidate that has lived and worked in the Gambia, largely during the period of the 22 years. And yes, I've worked in the country, you know, most of that 22 years. A candidate that has not been a direct victim. He said to me, everybody is a victim, but not a direct victim. Well, I don't know. I've not had that, you know, personal relationship to be a direct victim with the ex-president. A candidate that understands, you know, finance. I'm a chartered accountant, ACCA. I mean, qualified since 1999. And I'm also an economist. I have a degree in economics. And I've been practicing in that field for the past 20-something years. And also, he told me more specifically, I have a background of understanding systems and how they work, you know, and they would need somebody to set up, you know, the systems that would need to run the commission, the administrative systems and the other systems, the financial and so on, that you understand. So yeah, I does that. I'm a consultant, I'm a systems analyst. So I know how organizations work, and I've frequently been called by several organizations to go and troubleshoot. So that's my expertise. So on this basis, he told me, you know, that I have been identified, you know, and recommended, and if I would accept.
And of course, at the time of those discussions, what was envisioned was that a commission would be set up to look into financial issues. And of course, with the background you've mentioned, you are a fit and proper person for the role.
Yes, exactly.
I am intrigued by the fact that you stated that you are a systems person and you're often called to troubleshoot and to set up. And I'm intrigued because the committee would like to know the initial steps taken in setting up the commission. Please elaborate as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, when I say a systems person, it's a much systems in a much broader sense. There is some systems person who just limited to, for example, a computer system. And there are other systems persons that got to do with all the sub and general systems that you would find in an organization, the financial, the production, the marketing, to understand them and to be able to diagnose and come up with solutions. Yeah, so that is the background. What's your question specifically again?
My question is specifically towards the administrative system.
Yes, the steps we took. Okay. Yeah, there was a meeting with that I had with the commissioners. That's the chairperson and the two commissioners. And we had because the chairperson is very experienced, so the purpose of the meeting was to basically, I think, to let us understand what a commission of such would involve dealing the financial dealings and of the ex-president, what it would involve, what we need to set up. I happen to find the minutes of that meeting with me. It's with me. And in the meeting, we discuss what we need to, what the chairman basically led the meeting. And he laid out, you know, what we need in terms of staffing, in terms of files, in terms of nomenclature, you know, so I was taking the notes as the secretary. And basically, each one, the roles, the role of the commissioners, what is the role of the secretary, and there will be a council, obviously. You know, so basically the meeting, the briefing meeting, we call it the first initial meeting, was to highlight what to expect when we come to the commission.
Sort of like a conception meeting.
Yes.
And in that meeting, can you reiterate who was present in that meeting? In fact, to make it simpler, Mr. Kurang,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you are in possession of the minutes of that meeting.
Yes, yes.
Honorable Chair, if I could ask that through the witness,
Let me help you.
the said minutes are tendered.
No, let me help you. Bring the whole box. I have the minutes. It was dated 17th July, held at the first meeting of the commission held at Jammeh'S Beach Resort on 17th July 2017.
Okay, before we proceed into the formal marking and identifying of the document, Mr. Kurang, you can hold on to the document and use it to advise you, perhaps, with the following questions. What did you, in that meeting, the issue of the setup and what to expect came up, right?
Yes.
Did you discuss the administrative protocols that would ensue during the tenure of the commission?
Yeah, I mean, in answer to your first question, the meeting was attended by Surata Jane, the chairperson, Abiose George, commissioner, Mr. Baima Sen, commissioner, and myself as the secretary. Yes, we discussed a number of things. So it started with an introduction. The meeting opened with the chairman asking each member to express any issue they would like to be highlighted. Members therefore raised the following issues for the secretary to raise with the Solicitor General at the MOJ. Issue number one, the need to urgently have support staff in place. Number two, the progress report on installation of recording equipment. Number three, the need to have stationery in place for use by members, which is secretariat and council. Number four, the need to settle the matter of appointment letters. Number five, the need for security of members and venue to be settled by the AG as soon as possible. Number 6, the need for copies of gazetted TOR to be made available to members as soon as possible. Number 7, the need for logistics to be urgently addressed by the Ministry of Justice. And then the chairman hence then lead a discussion of members on the following issues. 1, there is an absence of attached schedule. Issue number 1 was discussed. Number 2, the issue of the name that we will use for the commission was discussed.
Mr. Kurang,
Yes.
pardon me. What was issue number 1 again?
Issue number 1 was the absence of an attached schedule, because there was a TOR given and the TOR referred to a schedule and the schedule was not available. So we had to request for the schedule. It says section 3A of the gazetted TOR made reference to an attached schedule which members observed has not been duly attached. Members agreed to recommend the Ministry of Justice to have the schedule published as supplementary in the Gazette. That was issue number 1. Issue number 2, name, a name. And the note there was, members agreed to use the word INQUIRY instead of ENQUIRY. That's issue number 2. Issue number 3, short title. Short title. Members agreed to refer to commission as the Commission of Inquiry into the Assets, etc., of ex-President Yahya Jammeh, family and close associates. Because there was a long title from the parliament, so we had to agree on a short title. This was the short title. Number 4, summons. Members agreed to adopt standardized format for each type of summon, and for secretary to sign witness summons and chairman to sign all other summons. Also to create a waybook for summons, as well as delivery note for confirmation of evidence delivered. Each point is after deliberation. Then what we agreed on.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Number 5, exhibits. Members agreed on alphanumerical method of numbering exhibits according to subject of origin of document, in addition to have a logbook of all exhibits. It's number 5. Number 6, sittings. Members agreed to sit from Monday to Thursdays as follows. First session, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lunch break, 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Second session, 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Fridays from 9:30 to 12:30, members dedicate to housekeeping.
You need not go into the specifics. You could just highlight the conclusions of everything.
The conclusion, yeah. Number 7, relationship with the media. Members resolved to adopt policy of no interviews to the media. Any media inquiries will be directed to secretary, and secretary can only give comments after contacting chairman. That's media. Number 8, subject witnesses. Witnesses shall be numbered in numerical sequence.
So from the trend I'm seeing, everything here goes to the proceedings of the commission. Is there anything left on the agenda of that date with regards to administration of the commission, as opposed to the proceedings of the commission?
There is this thing called recording proceedings. Members expect hard copies on a daily basis. So on every day, we give each commissioner a hard copy of all the documents that were tendered as exhibits. We have a secretariat staff, so they make hard copies and share with the commissioners on a daily basis. Members agreed to start proceedings not later than 1st August. AOB, that's about members agreed to adjust sitting time needed as members will be paid into, this are some of the, these are the points. And then there is a list of what is required to start work. We made a list at the end of
that is of interest. Can you go ahead with that?
Yeah. What is required to start the work? Number one, a security team, urgent and important.
Go ahead.
Number two, support staff, important. Number three, pool cars and drivers. We need this because our cars are already recognized and we need covert transport, urgent and important. Number four, appointment letters is important. So we classify each issue according to whether it's just important or urgent and important. Number four is appointment letters. Number five is copies of gazetted TOR is urgent, was urgent. Number six, stationery, urgent and important. Number seven, 2 laptops with internet dongles, urgent and important. Number 8, suggestion box and post office box, urgent and important. Number 9, 5 telephone sets, urgent. Number 10, 2 desktop computers. Number 11, 3 laserjet printers. Number 12, 1 filing cabinet. And number 13, petty cash expense recovery. So that was the end of the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Kuran. Going back to the first list you alluded to, and you spoke of the TOR.
Yes.
And that it did not have a schedule. What document are you referring to as the TOR?
The TOR, I'm referring to the official, the green one, the green. There is a document from the MOJ, I believe, which says Commission of Inquiry into the financial activities of public bodies, enterprises, and offices as regard their dealings with former President Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh and connected matters. So this was what was given to us.
Sure. Have a look at the committee's exhibit MOJ2. Secretariat. Please tell me if that is the document you are referring to.
MOJ. Yeah, it looks exactly the same.
We will come back to the issue of TOR in a little while. However, just to say I've fixated on the meeting of the conception meeting. I note that several tools for administration were requested. Was that the norm, that the tools are usually requested from the MOJ, I presume, and given to the commission rather?
Yes, we, as far as I knew, the MOJ was the line ministry that we were dealing with directly, except maybe this office of the president on some instances. But most of our needs, 99%, are directed to the Ministry of Justice.
And these were provided for in their material forms, not in cash.
No, not in cash. When we request, it goes to the ministry, and we are given the materials.
So the commission never had a working budget, did it?
Oh, because I remember when we started, there was a discussion, among the members of the commission and the lead council about a budget. And I remember that myself and one of the commissioners, who is also an accountant, Abiose George, started working on a budget based on this meeting, to see how much these items will cost, like you would normally do. You know what you require, and then you build a budget based on what you require. That's what we do as accountants. That's what we started doing. We did that. We shared it with the members. We shared it with the AG. But I think along the way, we were made to understand that the budget would be under the control of the ministry, and we would be making requests as and when we require.
So, if I get you right, there was indeed a startup or operational budget prepared by yourself and one of the commissioners.
Yeah, this is our idea at the time of what we think will be the cost based on, what it becomes a budget maybe when it is approved and endorsed by whoever in the government is fit to do so.
Would you say it was ever approved?
Not to my knowledge. I didn't get any formal communication to say it was approved, but we were told that there is a budget there for us. There was an accountant in the name of Alaji Babu, who was at the Ministry of Justice. So most of the time when we need this thing, he was responsible for getting us this, and then us, our allowances or anything else that we need. As far as I could remember, he was the accounting officer at the Ministry of Justice.
Council, Mr. Kurang, would you mind to be speaking on the mic? Because it's not reflecting a lot.
Oh.
Yes, please. If you just get closer to the mic.
Sure.
So we can hear you. Yeah.
Sure.
So you said Mr. Babu.
Alaji Babu.
Alaji Babu.
Yes. I forgot his surname, but yeah, Alaji Babu.
So I would refer to him as the accountant then.
Yes.
The accountant was physically present at the commission, or was he sitting at the MOJ?
He was not at the commission. He comes there when he has something to deliver to us. He was an accountant at the ministry, and he remains at the ministry. But according to the administrative structure, he was under my supposed to be under my department as the secretariat. But he is not based in the commission. He was based at the ministry.
It's interesting that you chose to use the word "supposed to." Would you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, because if he was under the secretary, then I would assume that he would have been taking instructions from me. I would say, I need this, and he would go and get it for me. But it wasn't like that. Maybe on paper he is attached to the commission, but he is at the ministry, and if we need something, we make a letter. Usually it's maybe signed by me or signed by the chairperson, and then we will address it to the AG and the Solicitor General, and then he is copied. So they would instruct him, or he would eventually provide us what we need.
It's important, that last statement, that whatever the commission needed was provided. Was that the case, in fact?
Did you say whatever?
I'm borrowing from you.
Yeah, whatever we need, we request from them, and eventually it gets provided.
From that startup or operational budget, I am making the assumption that in that conception meeting, the budget or the issues that were discussed, as you had mentioned, were in line with safeguarding the institution of the commission. Did the government heed to most of those proposals, as you put them?
Yeah, I remember intensive discussions around the issue, because we were of the opinion that if we have no control, I mean, that was the general feeling, if we had no control over the budget, then the pace and the speed, and you wouldn't have full control over what you do if you do not have full control over your budget. So this was a concern, and there was some little bit back and forth, but I think the Attorney General, eventually made it clear that commissions are set up and budgets are supposed to be controlled by the Ministry of Justice.
Just to circle back on an issue, the accountant, could it be one Alhaji Babu Juf?
Yes, exactly.
We'll come back
Yeah.
to that issue later on. What about the issue of internal systems? How were you meant to operate internally? Was correct me if I'm wrong, to my mind, there were 3 fundamental units in the commission. There was a lead counsel and investigation team, there was a secretariat, and there was a commissioners unit. So 3 fundamental units. What was the interrelation between these units? Please confirm my perception of the units and then go on to answer the interrelationship.
Yes, I think that's a correct way of looking at it. The secretariat was headed by me, so I report and work directly with the chairperson, the chairman. So effectively, the secretariat, headed by me, and I report to the chairperson. The council, the lead council had, state attorneys and also maybe non-state attorneys and investigators and maybe some proofreaders. These were under the lead counsel, and then obviously there was the commissioners. I sit with the commissioners as the head of the secretariat, so I take notes on whatever the commissioners are deciding or whatever discussions they're having. And I am also the liaison between the commissioners and the secretariat staff and the council. Usually when the council needs something or the commissioners need something from the council, I get it for them because I sit with them, and then I would contact the council to do that. And because the commissioners usually don't deal with members of the public. So anybody that has got any letter or any suggestion or any address to the chairperson, etc., any kind of communication usually is done through me to the chairperson, if it's a letter addressed to the chairperson or to the council.
And that, Mr. Kurang, is appropriate, as you being a systems guy, systems person. It's an appropriate setup because it is appropriate for the commissioners not to have direct contact with the general public or other individuals. Isn't that so?
Yes, I was made to understand from the beginning by the chairperson that in order for them not to be prejudiced, they do not need so much information. They don't need direct contact information coming to them. And also in my first meeting with the council, she explained to me, that information would come in through me, And when the information comes, some of the information that comes to me, right, or information that comes to me is for the council. And not every information for the council is actually for the commissioners.
So effectively, from that statement, you were the administrator for both the commission and lead counsel and investigation team.
I am the administrator for the commissioners, but the council does their own administration, except for matters which are specified and exclusive for the secretary, keeping of the files, serving summons, keeping records, multiplying documents for distribution, receiving letters from outside, and then passing them over, or other administrative matters, yes. But they keep their own files, the councils keep their own files, their own records, and their own information.
Thank you, Mr. Kurang. That was a good bird's eye view into the operations of the commission. However, I would like to look at it from a detached point of view and look at it in such a way that you were appointed as the secretary to the commission, and however the internal structures were played, it is still a fact that the legal team is part of the commission. Isn't that so?
Sure.
So you are the administrator for the commission.
Yes.
And all external communication in an ideal situation should go through you.
Should, yes. In an ideal situation, yeah, because there has to be a central point.
Was that part of the meeting, your conception meeting, that all correspondences will go through the secretary? Was that agreed upon?
From the meeting with the chairperson, yes, the general understanding, I think, was an ambition that it would, all information would come to me, and then eventually, from what I know, I would use my discretion or what I've discussed with them to see which one of this information should be passed to and who it should be passed to. And that was similar to the discussion with the council. The initial discussion was about what should not go to the commissioners and what should only go to the council.
So essentially there were two briefings for you and your secretariat team.
Yeah, the main briefing was the one with the chairperson.
Indeed, and the other two commissioners.
Yes. The other one was more like a briefing or a dialogue I had with the lead counsel for her to tell me her expectations and for me also to express what I thought, was the situation. And I think maybe we disagreed, maybe we don't agree.
Perhaps maybe you can tell us what happened. Did you disagree or did you agree? As an administrator, was that an appropriate protocol?
Yeah, I was.
Go ahead, Mr. Kura.
Well, I think, she was trying to direct my mind of what I need to do with information that relates to her and what relates to the commissioners. I think it would have been more appropriate for her to give me that information in the presence of the chairperson, but of course she chose to do it at that time. And, maybe when for example, she told me some information are for me and some are, for me only, meaning for the council only. So I remember I made a statement. I said, well, I think all information is for the state or for the public. Maybe she didn't like that. So she told me, well, when we get in there, when we get into the hall, you're going to be mute. I didn't understand what she meant at that moment during that briefing. Well, I just simply responded that, well, maybe one day I will have chance to talk. But later I understood that the secretary does not speak when the session is on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. As an administrator, when documents or any form of correspondence comes to you externally, would you limit it to the relevant personnel or officer, the action officer, and copy it to your superior in this scenario being the commissioners? Or would you simply just remit it to the action officer?
It depends on the type of information. For example, what would you give as an example? Information is handled according to the type of information. For example, if an information comes from a government department like the Ministry of Justice and it is addressed to the chairperson, I would take it straight to the chairperson. Usually, every information I take to the chairperson, I will give the council a copy. Now, obviously, if it is about evidence on what is going on, that is a matter for investigation. So I would take it to I would instruct for the staff to record it and take it to the council. And if the council feels that the information should be shared with the commissioners, then they will do that. But this is the general pattern of handling information.
Thank you, Mr. Kura. I would, since we're talking about some of your functions, I would refer you to MOJ 3E. Perhaps if the secretariat could assist.
3E.
MOJ 3E, yes.
Yeah.
Is it before you?
Yes.
Could you kindly read the caption of MOJ 3E as well as the date and addressee?
It's 12 July 2017, addressed to me, Al-Haji Muhammad Quran, Brusubi. Appointment, the subject, appointment as Secretary to Commission of Inquiry.
Mr. Quran, if you could go to the third paragraph of MOJ 3E, which is your appointment letter.
Yeah.
Could you kindly read that out?
Kindly familiarize. Is that the statement you're referring to?
Yes, please.
Kindly familiarize yourself with the Commission's terms of reference and your attached TOR as a guide to your work.
What did you understand the Commission's terms of reference to be? Is it the document that is marked by the committee as MOJ 2 that you earlier made reference to, which is the legal notice?
Yes, that's what, I would assume to be the terms of reference.
Okay. And in addition to that terms of reference, your appointment letter stipulates or seems to indicate that an additional TOR was developed and attached for your perusal. Was that the case?
Where is that indicated?
Kindly read MOJ 3E, paragraph 3.
Yeah, kindly familiarize yourself with Commission's terms of reference. So I assume they're referring to this.
Yes, so read the entire sentence.
And your attached TOR as a guide to your work. Yes. Yes, there would be something to spell out what specifically is for the secretary.
So you confirm that that was there?
Yes. Yeah.
Was that the case for the commissioners as well? To the best of your knowledge?
No, I have not seen the commissioner's letter. I can't remember seeing their own letter. I think everybody was giving your own letters.
but was information as to their TOR divulged to you at any point?
Yeah, I remember we had a discussion about the TOR of the commissioners. I think that comes from, there was the chairman so brought an act, either the chairman or the council. Yes, I remember. They brought, because they are the lawyers, so
That
they
would be
brought.
the Commissions of Inquiry Act.
Yes, that act was brought, and I think that act specifies what is the TOR of commissioners. Yeah, I remember the discussion on that.
Was it the act or the legal notice that was brought?
Yeah, yesterday I had you talking about the act, the legal notice, but I think I remember the word act. Yes, that's what I remember in discussions.
Thank you. So I will pick up from the inception meeting. What happened after that? How did you go on to set up? You had mentioned that you did not have a place to operate from the insinuations from that meeting. How did you proceed from then?
Yeah, from this point, after the briefing and the commissioners and the chairperson laying out what is expected, I focused on the secretariat to get it prepared to start business. So based on my discussion with and based on these things which are specified, I had to use my system's imagination to know what are the units, how we are going to set up the secretariat, if you wish, an org chart, have people responsible for exhibits, and then I have to do my own TOR for them internally, what they need to do as far as the exhibits are concerned. Have people responsible for summons and recording files, so I have to, specify for them what they need to do. And have people, for other responsibilities within the secretariat, in anticipation that when they come, I would already be, assigning them responsibilities. So later they came. I think I was the only non-government employee or staff in the secretariat. They were all from the ministries, mostly justice, but I believe maybe some other ministries. So then I had to I took their more or less like summary of their CVs to see what they can do or what is their experience. Then I use that information to assign them into the responsibilities I have already, the org chart, which I have already designed. Each one according to, what I felt suits their curriculum vitae.
Was this in respect of the secretariat alone?
On all the secretarial staff, which includes secretarial works, assistant secretaries, the transcribers, people doing the recordings, and obviously I had to make security arrangements. Once security arrangements come to the commission, I'm responsible for the security officers. So these were the staff under me, not the investigators.
And the staff under you, what were the protocols for communication to the commissioners? Would they be channeled through you?
Yes, I was the head of the secretariat, so I had an office in the secretariat, in the department. I had a small office there, where is an open hall, so all the staffs were there. I designed it, and we had some few cubicles. So they report to me, they deal with me on a daily basis, morning to closing. And then any issues they have, because when the commissioners have meetings, I sit with them, so I bring up their issues to the commissioners.
You had mentioned that most of the staff under you emanated from the public service.
Yes.
Were there any staff that were recruited directly by you during your administration?
I brought in two assistants, which then were taken over by me. I take care of their expenses. So they stayed with me for throughout my tenure there, because documents, you need to have trust when you're handling, that kind of documentation. So they were not brought in as staff, they were brought in as interns with me.
During your time in the commission, were there any difficulties with supervising the internal administration of the commission?
Yes, I mean, it's challenging because I came from the private sector, and maybe the speed in which I like to do things and the manner, I mean, it's not always in line with the government, working culture sometimes. So we had those clashes, but as the leader of the team, I had to, depersonalize, issues and face challenges and take them as a learning experience. So yes, we had challenges because people come from different backgrounds and so on. But quite a number of them were, very capable and competent.
Thank you. Going back to the 3 units that were in the commission, of course, I'm using my own understanding of the organogram.
Mm-hmm.
Conflicts or overlap in authority.
Based on the 3 units?
Yes, especially, if I can narrow that down, especially between the legal and investigative team and the secretariat, rather.
Overlaps.
Yes, perhaps, you had earlier mentioned that external communication is ordinarily channeled through the secretariat, and you were the head of the secretariat. So were there any other roles that the secretariat ought to have played that perhaps was played by either the commissioners or the council and investigation team?
Frankly, if there is to be any overlap, my only concern was that the lead counsel was everywhere, into everything.
Can you narrow that down, please?
Yes, she's the lead counsel, but knows, what is going on. Let me be specific. For example, the things which I am handling is more of administrative and financial matters. And I think, for example, when it comes to dealing with the Attorney General, the chairman yesterday was telling you that the lead counsel have a good relationship with the AG because he was appointed. So some of the things, even maybe when we can't get it done, the lead counsel will get it done. So I didn't think that some of those things were necessary. That's one.
So you didn't have a good relationship with the AG then?
Who, me?
Yes.
No, I have. He was my colleague in high school.
Fantastic.
And before the transition, I remember we had a coffee together. That was in 2014 or so, and we were talking about the impossibilities in the Gambia. So we went to school together. But I'm talking about administratively. I didn't have that administrative rapport as such.
So from what you just said, there were instances where the secretariat was basically hit a Chinese wall, and it was only the lead counsel who had the key to the door to the other side.
Yes.
Aside from that, since you have acknowledged that a lot of the staff of the commission came from the public service, and the understanding of the committee is that most of those staff were paid salaries from their parent ministries or their parent institution. So perhaps if Pate is from the Ministry of Justice and Lamin is from the Ministry of Finance, they're paid their salaries per their portfolio in those respective institutions. However, in addition, the commission pays them an allowance. Was that the case?
Yes, that was the case.
And because these personnel were from other institutions within the public service, your authority as the head, I would like to ascertain whether you at the helm of affairs of the secretariat felt that there was smooth administration within the commission, in your secretariat.
I mean, you want to relate that to the fact that they are receiving extra?
Not quite. The fact that they are well, yes. In fact, the fact that they are receiving their salaries from other institutions and they report to other institutions.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe let me not put words in your mouth. Did they report to you directly?
Yeah, I mean, those who were based in the office were reporting generally to me directly. I mean, but you see, when somebody is a government staff, you know, the secretary can come and tell you, oh, my boss at the ministry today says I need to go and type that document for 2 days. A security officer can just be transferred and without you knowing about it, because the head of the PIU, decides that. So you don't have that control, but for the time in which they are available, and some are not, some are, for example, the assistant, Ramatullah Sar, was not based in the office. She's based in the ministry for 99% of the time. So I wouldn't say everybody is directly answerable. The time in which they are there, they are answerable, but you know, a matrix structure of organizational, they report, you know, also to their bosses, I believe, but not about the commission matters. For all commission matters, they report to me.
That's important.
Yes.
So just to stress that, you had autonomy as it regards to the subject matter of the commission.
Yes.
However, there are dual reporting lines. Did that create any delay in the administration of the commission?
I mean, yes, it would. It would create delay, and it did. If you take the case of the accountant, for example, we could only request, and I'm an accountant myself, but you know, I am completely in the dark about the processes, because as a systems guy, if you tell me, if I make a request for a payment, I should be able to tell you reasonably that this payment voucher or this payment request is going to move from step 1, that will take 24 hours, is going to step 2, you know, that will take for auditing 24 hours, going to step 3 for approval. I should be able to form a reasonable idea of how long it will take for that process to finish. But if he is the accountant of the commission and he is sitting at the ministry, I have no way of, so I could make a request which I think should be delivered to me in 24 hours, and maybe I get it 24 days later.
And essentially, especially with respect to the accountant, you were requesting from your subordinate a lot.
Yeah, my subordinate was my boss. I have to beg him so that I can take care of the people. Yeah.
I would like you to speak to the relationship between the Commission and the MOJ, the Ministry of Justice, being the line ministry. Was it a relationship of oversight, or was it more a relationship of facilitation, especially with resources?
I didn't see much oversight, activity, because an oversight would be, point A to point B. When you reach point B, before you move to point C, you report and then you get a feedback. That's what I would understand by an oversight. But I think it's more of facilitation. Yes, I might remember on one occasion in which maybe the AG, makes maybe makes comments or about, the what this government needs, but that's not an oversight. That's maybe one or two requests from the Attorney General on what the Commission, what they want the Commission to do. So in terms of oversight, no, less of that. In terms of facilitation, yes, more of that.
Thank you. Mr. Kura, I will be allowing you to take it from our base story, which was from the inception meeting. But from time to time, I'll be distracting you, if I may.
Sure.
To fish out certain things.
Sure.
And at this point, I would like to take you back to that meeting.
Okay.
After that meeting, what happened?
Yeah, like I said, after the meeting, I had to come back to the secretariat and then try to create a secretariat with the staff, try to request what I need from what my discussion with commissioners, to make a list of the things I need to write and request for those things from the MOJ using the appropriate channels, to receive the staff, to interview the staff, have a meeting with the staff, to identify the background of the staff and to allocate them to the individual responsibilities that are there, to create the files that need to be created for the secretariat, and to create the logbooks. So all the housekeeping, we call it, is what I was basically busy with, to get the systems working in terms of transcribers, liaising with the technology people to make sure it works. So I was trying to get the organization ready administratively to be able to do its job. That's what I was busy with.
And that was eventually done, correct?
Yes, all those things were done.
So at what point was there a subsequent meeting with all three units for briefing before operation started?
Yes, there was, because when we did this meeting with the commissioners on 17th July, I believe there was eventually another meeting with the lead counsel to brief her on what the commissioners have agreed on. So that was also a meeting with the lead counsel and the commissioners and myself. That took place, yes. And in that meeting, obviously, it could have gone into more details of some of the things.
And do you recall the date of that meeting?
I wouldn't recall exactly, but I know it has to be between the 17th, for example, when we had this meeting, and August 1st. Within the 2 weeks, there was possibly more than one meeting in which we have to update each other about what we wish to do, to-do list, and how far we have gone, and what remains to be done.
Before we proceed, I would like to distract you once again.
Okay.
You had mentioned that MOJ would engage you on certain, to use your words, inputs of what they wanted. Could you kindly elaborate on that?
That's when you ask about oversight.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So I said that there was nothing oversight as such, but, you know, from the ministry, I do remember, you know, one or two occasions when the AG came and maybe the investigator had gone for some time and the government had needed some things to be done according to him at that time. So, you know, it is an expectation on the commissioners maybe to act. This was basically to do with landed properties. I remember the AG came with a request, possibly from the cabinet, to say that some of the landed properties, particularly in the TDA area, that were being investigated, and maybe had been frozen or sanctioned at that time, and then it need to be unfrozen or unsanctioned, whatever you say, and the action of the commission will be needed. So basically this was a discussion about timelines and what the principal needed from the commission.
Before we move on, I would like to move you on to AMK 1A. But perhaps before we do that, Mr. Kurang, while you look for AMK 1A, which is your statement taken in conjunction with our investigators, it wouldn't be in that compilation, yes.
Yes.
I would like you to comment as an administrator, purely to guide the committee, on your view of how the administrative setup of the commission helped or derailed the work of the commission.
On which page of this?
That is before we go into the statement. I am soliciting your guidance for the committee.
Frame it again. Oh.
As a systems person,
Yeah.
what is your view on the setup, the administrative setup, budgetary, and all that encompassed? What is your view on the setup of the commission in the attainment of its purpose or derailment of its purpose?
The setup.
Administrative setup.
The administrative setup. Yes, I think number one, the fact that the commission did not have any control over its budget affected a lot of, or delayed a lot of things in the commission. You know, requests can be made for items that you need administrative to run the place, and they tend to be delayed. You need equipment, etc. Allowances frequently delayed, and sometimes maybe that kind of destabilize the staff or make them feel demotivated. So this is one aspect of the administration. You know, for example, sometimes the commission wants to do a site visit, and then they didn't have the funding to do it on time according to their schedule. So budget matters cause problems. This is obviously, yeah, we understand that commission cannot recruit its own staff, but there is a ready amount of pool of staff from the central government to fill positions. Apart from this, for the success or affects what? Did you say? You said it affects
the general purpose of the commission. Perhaps if I could give you context.
Yeah.
You do not ask this question in vain.
Yeah.
You see, this is a committee of the National Assembly.
Sure.
And when you look at the role of the National Assembly,
yeah,
aside from lawmaking, is to hold the government to account. And encoded in the lawmaking mandate of the National Assembly is the influence of government policy. And of course, this was a policy to take this form of a commission. Now, if one thing or the other affected the administration of it, it would be prudent in the exercise of our functions as a legislature
Yeah.
to bring that to the attention of the executive, so
Sure.
such that future commissions do not suffer the same fate.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the intent in which I solicit your guidance.
Sure. So I mentioned the administrative bottleneck. I think the other administrative issue, which for me was a concern, looking at it from a helicopter view, is that the lead counsel was maybe too overreaching, I would say, or, I mean, I don't know why that happened to be the case, but that obviously affected a lot of things in the commission.
And that has to do with the organizational structure of the commission.
That could be, you have to look at that, whether it has got to do with the TOR, or it's got to do with the nature of the person that is giving the appointment, the background, etc. Yes, but when you go into details, you will see, what I am talking about.
Indeed, and we will eventually go into details.
Yeah.
However, in your view, was the fact that all personnel generally were referred, I mean, save for the fact that most of your letters, when I say your letters, I mean yourself and the commissioners, except the chairperson, made reference to an additional terms of reference. However, these terms of reference have not been attached in any of the submissions, to put it on the record. Would it be your view that perhaps as a policy consideration, these terms of references for each individual should be spelled out in separate documents?
Yeah, I think it's very important because, being clear with the TOR, avoids duplication, it can avoid abuse of power, it can avoid conflicts, interdepartmental or whatever conflicts. So having them properly defined is an important component in getting the administration right.
And you have mentioned in your testimony today, or perhaps you have alluded to it, and this committee had the privilege of hearing from the Honorable Attorney General, and he too mentioned in his testimony that contact could be made between the commission and its line ministry, which was the MOJ, through phone calls, and sometimes quite informally. Was that your experience, that were all requests formal, or were there other forms of requests in your experience?
My experience would be that the requests that we make or are made through me are usually written. Yes, the chairperson always insists we write, and I usually always write when it's a request from for the Ministry of Justice. But when there is maybe a follow-up, I mean, once in a while you can write reminders, or you write emails, but generally we can do follow-ups. Oh, yes, I've done follow-ups by telephone call. I've called the AG before, called the Solicitor General, called the accountant, and call anybody I can in the ministry just to get what the commission needs.
Thank you. Perhaps now we can move into your statement, which is AMK 1A. Is it before you?
Yes.
I'll direct you to the second page and the first paragraph on that page. You make reference to an organizational chart, which you have reiterated in your testimony today. Do you perhaps have a copy of that organizational chart?
Because I had files that I was keeping while I was the secretariat. In those files, it will be there. I don't have a copy with myself, but I can fairly remember offhand what transpired in the org chart.
Can you take us through carefully? Take your time. Take us through this organizational chart. Of course, I presume that the chart would have the commissioners at the helm of things.
Yes.
Please take it from there.
On the chart, obviously, I report to the commissioners through the chairperson, so as the secretary. And under me, I would have, there's a unit called transcribers, about 4 or 5 people that are responsible for recording the proceedings. These are brought from the judiciary, I believe. And then there is a section that I created that was responsible just for the exhibits, filing them, labeling them. So we created a system whereby if the exhibits come from the commission, you know, this somebody sits with me there and takes this back to the secretariat office, label them, describe them, and file them. And anybody who needs those exhibits, whether from the councils or commissioners or anybody, you know, there is a logbook and a recording system to record what you've taken out, and then the in and out movement of the exhibits. That was we call it the exhibit unit. And we also had another unit specifically for correspondences, typing documents, and so on. That was there too. There was another one for summons, dealing with summons. I created 1 or 2 people just to take care of the summons and to make sure that they are delivered on time, you know, and when they are delivered, they are recorded. If they are not able to be delivered, what are the issues? And there was a unit also I created maybe just for taking care of administrating things, making sure if I run out of paper, because they are from the Ministry of Justice, so they know how to go and get that. So we will say, okay, we need this, and that unit is responsible for contacting the accountant and other people or following up the letters I have written and requested for items to make sure that the items come to us. And then obviously there is the security. There is a DSP, Deputy Superintendent of Police. The securities were basically of 2 types. The bodyguards, the plainclothes, and then the uniform guards that guard the premises and also when the commission is going out. So these were the units that were working with me.
So how did the legal and investigation teams relate to that organogram?
Yeah, the legal and investigation team, in the organogram, it will be an arrow showing that we link up with the lead counsel, you know, as and when required in terms of exchange of documents, exchange of information, you know, and giving them what they want and doing what they need. So we are the service unit, the back office, you know, if you wish, of the commission to do whatever any department needs from us.
What about the legal and investigation teams with respect to themselves? How were they structured?
What I understood, I didn't see the organograph because they fall under the lead counsel. I didn't see the organograph, but dealing with them, what I have seen is that they are usually mostly policemen. There is somebody from the Financial Intelligence Unit who is not a police officer, but they were assigned specific roles that each one of them will be running. So I will talk to maybe one of them, and maybe he's into researching about landed properties. Then I will talk to another one, maybe he is dealing with companies of the ex-president. And then I'll talk to one of them, maybe he's dealing with the banks in terms of getting documents and so on. So the lead counsel is the one who assigns them what to do on a daily basis and have briefings with them on a daily basis. So for their work with me, it only pertains to when they need something from me, you know, to facilitate their work.
So, Mr. Kurang, where would the valuers, what department would the valuers for the commission be stationed at? Would they be stationed with the legal and investigation teams, or would they be stationed at the secretariat? Or were they outsourced?
Yeah, when you say valuers, I would assume you're talking about valuers of the cattle, valuers of the vehicles, and valuers of the landed properties.
Valuers of all assets.
Yeah.
Different valuers.
The landed properties, they had a passing from the lands and surveys. That is not based in the commission, but comes and deals directly with the lead counsel and the investigator. The valuers for the cattle, the livestock, Department of Livestock, were contacted, upon the order of the commission. When they were needed, they were contacted.
Can I take you back before I forget this point,
Okay.
Mr. Kuran? You, in your answer, you said for the valuers for the land, they were contacted from the ministries, from lands and surveys. And you said they were contacted. Who contacted?
Well, I didn't say they are contacted, but I believe, yes, they are contacted. So, and I said that they deal directly with the lead counsel. So the lead counsel would be the best person to explain how the land property valuers come about.
So I will take you back to the TOR again.
Yes.
From the testimony today, it was the responsibility of the secretary to, of course, we have established that all the valuers were not part of the commission, the internal workforce of the commission, correct?
No, yes.
So in order for contact to be made, they ought to have been made through the secretary, since that was what entailed in your TOR and your conception meeting. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, normally, because I'm the if you wish, the commission, the chief operation officer of the commission. So I implement whatever decision the commission takes. So
you say normally. I want to fish out what's behind that statement, normally.
Yeah, normally means under normal circumstances.
So these were extraordinary circumstances?
Well, there could be extraordinary circumstances. When I say normally, I mean that that's what should obtain, but for example, if you say land valuer, I have no contact with any land valuer. Maybe I just see them or whatever, but I don't know how they come about and where they come from.
So just to put it in simple words, you reported to work one day and a land valuer just appeared in front of you.
No, the land valuer don't have to appear in front of me. Maybe I heard that there is a land valuer, and
yeah. Could you source where you heard that from?
All the sittings of the commission, when they are presenting on a landed property, there is usually a panel. So yes, I will see the panel that comprises of the chief investigator, Dello Balde or Inspector Sane, and then there will be somebody from the lands office, a valuer and a surveyor, they call it, and maybe there will be other people from the Department of Land. So my idea is that, among them there would have been somebody to value the land.
So to be clear, as part of the investigation team, you had mentioned that the investigation team comprised mostly of police officers and personnel from the Financial Intelligence Unit.
Yes.
Were there any land officers as part of the investigation team, to the best of your knowledge?
Yeah, because the police officers and the financial intelligence people will, when they need expertise, then that's this, for example, I'm telling you, they work with a valuer. I will see them with a valuer. Or I will say, I don't know whether to call him valuer or quantity surveyor, but they are normally within the same category. So I will see them with somebody from the Lands and Surveys Department. So I believe that since they are under the direction of the lead counsel, their department is able to source expertise there's a whole lot of experts coming to the commission directly to the lead counsel from every department in the country.
Mr. Kurang, don't you find that strange that you are, as you put it, the chief of operations of the commission, and you have stated that there is a legal and investigations team. It is also stated that you are the conduit for communication. Communication, whether externally, especially externally, is communicated on channel through you.
Yeah.
In this particular instance, you are giving testimony as to third parties, the valuers, to be specific, who appear without any sort of initiating contact from the secretariat. Is that normal?
So it might be possible that maybe through the secretariat I've been instructed to write a letter to the Department of Physical Planning to request, for somebody, for a valuer. I don't remember, but I'm just saying that is possible. But as to what they do and who they report to and what they report, no, I have no hands in that. I have no experience with that, with the property valuers. There was the valuers of the cattle which work with me, yes, upon the order of the commission, and there was also a valuer of vehicles, that work with me, yes, with the order of the commission.
Thank you. Thank you for taking me there. So let's go there.
Okay.
The valuer of the cattle that worked with you, you said it was pursuant to an order of the commission.
Yes.
Who contacted the valuer? Who initiated the valuer?
I think the commission would have made a decision. Yeah, the order actually is that the livestock department was mentioned as part of the order. So yes, I think I would have been the one to write the letter to the department and requesting, and yes, then they send in the valuers.
So when you make reference to an order,
is
it an order of the commission or is it a prior order?
What's the difference?
So what the question is, just to give you context, is there was an order from the High Court prior to the establishment of the commission. Do you confirm this?
Yes.
And that order of the High Court basically steadied the ground before the commission assumed its mandate.
Yes.
That order had some elements of what you're talking about now.
Yes.
So I would like you to clarify whether you are referring to that order or a subsequent order that the commission made, electing a valuer.
Yes, the order you mentioned about before the commission came to being, I heard you talking about it yesterday. It was a 3-month order, isn't it? The order I am talking about is the interim order made by the commissioners during the sittings.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the commission made interim orders, and I'm sure perhaps this point should be taken with other persons, but as secretary you observe. I am well aware that you're not a legal person, but you're an administrator nonetheless. The secretary made orders. The
commission make orders?
Sorry, my apologies. The commission made orders.
Yes.
How were those orders made? Were they prompted?
My understanding was that there is a procedure. The council's office would usually prepare what they call an application. And I think this application usually is prompted by some other background information. And when they prepare the application will be brought, and then later I think the application will be endorsed by the chairperson or the commissioners. And once that is done, then the order will follow suit.
Yes, so there is always an application from lead counsel, which the commission would gauge the merits of it.
Yes.
And grant or deny the order.
Yes.
And if they grant it, deny the application.
The application.
And if they grant it,
yes,
an order is made.
Yes.
My qualm is, does that order or application spell out the individual who is to be elected as a valuer?
The individual
or institution that is to be elected as a valuer.
Yeah, like in the case of the cattle, I think the application and the order specified something about the Department of Livestock Marketing. Yes, as regard to the valuation.
Can you remember any other applications that were like that, that specifically referred to persons?
Yeah, I believe the application for the vehicles, the sale of the tractors, not passing, not an individual passing. Eventually, an individual will be identified, but also assume there was a valuation, so there will be a process of some sort for the vehicles. The landed properties, obviously, I didn't see most of the valuation process because I left 1 year within the commission, so I wouldn't know what happened much.
So, to the best of your knowledge, your personal knowledge, except for the landed properties, all the other properties were valued by institutions?
No, the livestock was valued by personnel of the livestock board or something. The vehicles, specifically the tractors, were valued by one Mr. Njai, I think. He was the former managing director of the Kotu workshop. What do you call that? The Maintenance Service Department, MSA. Yes, I remember that. Because he was the guy who was, I think, if I could remember, who was in charge of the Kotu workshop at the time that the tractors came from India.
So Mr. Njai at the time did not work for the Maintenance Service Agency?
Yeah, I think he had retired, if I could remember, yes. He had retired.
Aside from Mr. Njai, to stick to Mr. Njai actually, who identified Mr. Njai as the valuer?
Well, I was in charge of the process, but I never knew him. I've never met him. And I believe at some point he had worked with the council or they had done something together. So I believe that suggestion came from the office of the lead counsel.
So perhaps I could give you, to be fair to you, give you the benefit of context before I follow up with the question. Before the establishment of the commission, there was indeed an order by the High Court.
Yes.
To basically ready the ground for the commission.
Yes.
And that order was in effect that it placed certain assets to certain institutions. And it is not a surprise that the commission would ask that the Gambia Livestock Marketing Agency value livestock. It is not a surprise because that is precisely what the order placed custody.
Sure.
Oh. However, what the committee is interested in is other subsequent persons who were appointed eventually as valuers. How did their appointment come about? Especially those who did not come ex officio, By ex officio, I mean those who did not come because of their resident offices, those who came in their personal capacities. How were they appointed?
Yeah, the only example of that would be Mr. Njai, who valued the vehicles. Yeah, like I said, I never met him before that, and he had come from a recommendation. And, you know, there was a guidance given by the commission as to what they would pay. They would pay they were ready to pay for valuation. So that guidance would have determined that.
And who would that guidance be communicated to?
That guidance would definitely be communicated to me. And if I draft a contract, I would run it along with what they have said, since it is their instruction. And, you know, with the advice of the council, they would have agreed. And then the process will take place.
Okay. Mr. Kurang, to be fair to you, we will take a short break. Honorable Chair, if I could request that we take a very short break at your discretion.
All right, we can take a short break for at least 30 minutes and we come back again. Thank you, Mr. Kura.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned. By 1:30, we should be back.
Yeah. Oh, where?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Okay.